Hey everybody, Tim here, coming at you live for today's episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So I kind of debated doing this live because this is Star Trek's first three-part episode. It's the season 2 premiere. So I got season 2, episode 1, Homecoming, season 2, episode 2, The Circle, and season 2, episode 3, The Siege. So like I said, I kind of debated doing this live or just doing each of them separately. But I like doing these live videos. I like interacting with you guys. I like seeing the little comments pop up. And it gives me a good chance to just kind of talk to you guys in general. Because, I mean, we already finished a whole season of Deep Space Nine. So that's kind of cool. That being said, some people... So what I do when I do these live videos is I do them for you guys, and then I save this video, and then I upload it to my YouTube channel. And some people on the YouTube side have like, I've never seen you live. So just to be aware, I might start doing live videos for just the YouTube side as well. So, and then I could probably just do it in reverse. I could just save that video and then upload it here. But just to keep you guys in the loop, I guess. So I overslept for like 2 hours. I was supposed to do this video at like noon, so you guys are gonna kind of have to bear with me. So like I said, so this is the season 2 premiere. It's the first Star Trek 3-part crossover, and a lot of shit happens in this crossover. Good morning, Jamie. It's like, I don't have my watch on me. What time is it? It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Overall, I thought this was a good premiere. I really liked this one. I thought they did really good. Joshua's watching. Which, have you watched any Deep Space Nine yet? Because I'm gonna, like, I know where you live. I can just drag you over here and force you to watch Deep Space Nine. So if everybody comment on Josh's comment, tell him to watch Deep Space Nine, because he's never seen it. I'm not even gonna get through this review. You guys are just gonna keep popping up. Which is okay. That's why I do these live videos, is to have these discussions. Because for the most time, I feel like I just go on and on and on about these episodes. And we have some great conversations in the comments, but I very rarely actually get to talk to you guys. You know, nothing. So Zachary, I have zero social life. All I do is work and watch TV, basically. My usual goal is to do about 2 episodes a day. But that being said, maybe 3. But that being said, on my days off of work, like, I have nothing going on. Like, there was one day, so I just got off my vacation, and where I had like 9 days off, and I did like 15 episodes in one day. It was pretty big. What did Han do now? I don't know what that means. But yeah, no, and you know what? I am enjoying Deep Space Nine. So I did try to go through this pretty quickly. And also, I have tickets to the documentary on, what's today, Friday? On Monday. So my goal was to kind of get through a bunch of the episodes to be prepared for that documentary. Let's just keep popping up. Okay, I want to try to bust through just the first episode while we keep talking. So for a 3-part episode, this episode had a lot of stuff going on, and it went really quick. It was kind of impressive. I'm gonna keep dying. So it started out kind of funny, with Quark and Odo basically making peace, and he quotes the rules of acquisition, where you have to declare peace because it confuses the hell out of your enemy. But what happens is a Bajoran earring from Cardassia 4 is smuggled to the station. David says hi from Colorado. Hello, I am in Washington, so just to the west of you a little bit. So an earring gets smuggled to the station, and Quark shows it to Kira, and she recognizes it immediately. It's from this freedom fighter, Lee Nallis. You are, but you're distracting me, but it's fun. I like it. Like I said, this is the whole reason I do these live videos. And so Jamie and I have talked about, I'm a night owl, which is why I am awake too early, even though it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I normally like to do these videos at like 9 o'clock at night, maybe even midnight, because that's when I'm actually awake. But some of you are not in my local area. Some of you are far away. And so some of you have asked, hey, would you mind doing a live video earlier so that way I could participate? And I was like, yeah, I'll try it. I mean, I don't think it's going to do anything, but I'll try it. And so I started doing some of these videos at like noon. Even I did one at like 6 o'clock local time for me. And there's so many more people. You guys are just bouncing off, and it's great. This is the goal that I had for these live videos. Because even when I did them at like 9 o'clock my time, I did get some interactions, but not nearly as many as this. So this is great. I'm super happy. You guys keep distracting me. This is fantastic. Anybody watching this later, I don't know if they'll enjoy it because they're like, just get to the story. So freedom fighter Lee Nahlas. So Kira instantly wants to go save this guy, and she's like, we got to get a runabout. So in the meantime, they start talking about a circle, or the circle. It's this like freedom fighting faction that's slowly developing. And it's interesting because it's a little bit of a clue to what's going on to the next episode. So Kira and O'Brien jump on a runabout. They run over to Cardassia 4, and rather than just this Lee Nahlas sitting on the planet, there's a dozen Bajoran prisoners. So clearly the Cardassians have not really like retreated or given up or signed the treaty or whatever, because they still have these concentration camps. And I thought this was kind of interesting. So O'Brien and Kira try to smuggle into this concentration camp, and they basically kind of use Kira as like a prostitute. Like O'Brien's like trying to sell her, and he's talking to the Cardassian guard, and he's like, 2 strips of latinum. And so I think this is, I could be wrong, but I think this is the first time that we've heard of a strip of gold-pressed latinum. I think at this point it's just been bars. So I think that's interesting, because now we're slowly starting to realize that there's different types of currency. So they end up rescuing the prisoners, or at least some of them, like 4 of them end up, I think it was 4, end up staying behind, so that way Kira can get Lee Nahlas out of the camp. And then like the second they get back to the camp, Kira runs in to talk to Cisco, and Cisco's on the comm link with Gul Dukat, which I've lost track of how many times we've seen him at this point. Is this the second or third? I don't know. I feel like he's in this episode a lot, or the series a lot more than I remember him being. And so Gul Dukat's on the screen, and he's basically like, yeah, I already know what you did, and it's okay, because we didn't know that that camp was there, so we're shutting it down, and the prisoners are already en route to you. And Kira's just taken aback, because I'm going to be completely honest, like, for somebody just watching this show, or if I'd been watching this show live, like, you see Gul Dukat, and Star Trek does a good job. Like, Star Trek is very against, like, racism and bigotry and stuff like that, but they also want you to hate certain species. So they're very manipulative in that way, because, like, I mean, they keep showing, like, O'Brien, for example, is so racist against Cardassians, and then Keiko is that one where it's like, you have to be more accepting. But, like, Star Trek has trained us as the viewer that every time a Cardassian comes on, you're just like, I don't trust you. And Gul Dukat is that character where every time he comes on, you're like, there's more to him than you think. But yet, every time he comes on the screen, he's like, I'm just here to help you. Like, we didn't know about this camp. We just shut it down. So, I don't know. At this point in this episode, he keeps, like, he's almost a good guy, to be honest with you. Like, we haven't really seen him do that much. So, I think Star Trek is just a master series when it comes to that. I thought it was great. You guys just blew up my comments, and I can't read it. Makes me wonder how the Federation trades with other societies since they don't have any real capital. Yeah, that's definitely been... I think I talked about that in some of my Next Generation videos, where I feel like they backpedaled that a little bit. I still want to know how Odo has a functional comm badge. Oh, Zach, you just hurt my brain. Like, it's too early to think about that. Maybe it's not... Or maybe, like, it's an actual badge. It's not his, like, transformation. It's actually just him, like, he just absorbs the badge, so we just can't see it. I don't know. And Garrick is one of my favorite characters. He is fantastic. Okay, so Gul Dukat is keeps reinforcing, like, Cardassia is not your enemy. Like, we are trying to make peace. We're trying to right our wrongs. So from here, Frank Gangla, I can never say his name. Fantastic actor. I'm drawing a blank because I just woke up, but he's a great actor. He's in a lot of stuff. He ends up showing up. He's Minister Jero. Joshua, yes, Odo is the gooey one. So Joshua, you haven't watched Deep Space Nine. I'm going to give you a little tidbit because I'm coming up to it pretty soon. So if you want to come over and watch it, Odo ends up marrying Lwaxana. And so Joshua and I are both huge Lwaxana fans. So Lwaxana's like my big bait to try to get him to watch Deep Space Nine. So yes, Odo's the shapeshifter. Still greatly appreciate how Garrick's actor really tried to play him as Pan by. So Tanner, I can see that, but I didn't know that was a goal of his. So that's kind of interesting. And I know the actor like loves Garrick as well. Like he's written some books about him, if I can remember correctly. All right. So I gotta blow my nose. So Mr. Jero shows up. At this point, Quark is attacked by these masked people. And I'm not even gonna lie, those masks were kind of freaky. Like they were like almost like plastic, so they look like mannequins. And he gets branded by the Circle, so it's kind of interesting. So I thought that was kind of weird because it seemed out of place for what the Circle was trying to do. Yeah, so as Eric had suggested, like, so I'm trying new things. I'm going to try different filming techniques. I'm going to try different settings. I'm going to try a whole bunch of different stuff. So it was recommended to do a widescreen because it fits better for TVs or laptops. And if you're on a phone, it should automatically just fix it. And then somebody else had said how my curtain was boring, and you kind of saw a little bit of my art wall. And so this is actually my autograph wall. This is stuff that I've gotten autographed from Comic-Con over the years. So I'm trying new stuff, because I'm also going to try film editing. So like the title comes up, where am I at? Right there. So the title comes up right there on the bottom. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm always just trying to make this better for you guys, because I think staring at me is probably just boring. So Quark gets branded. Lee Nallis tries to stow away to the Gamma Quadrant, which was kind of interesting. I'm sure that happens, but I don't think we've heard about it yet. And he tells the story about how he became this freedom fighter and how he was legit. He just kind of fell down a hill and landed on this bathing Cardassian's clothes. And he's like, the Cardassian stood up in just his underwear. And I was like, I mean, why can't you just say he was naked? Like, I don't know. I felt it was really weird that he said he was in his underwear like 2 or 3 times. And I was just like, okay, we get it. He's in his underwear. And then he shoots the Cardassian. Kirk says, off topic, I really need to check out the vintage Star Trek. Any suggestions? Funny you should say that. So, I mean, realistically, I would just start from the beginning and watch them. For Kirk, watching the original Star Trek, which is kind of a coincidence. So there's 2 different ways you can watch them. You could watch them in the production order, which is what I would recommend, or you could watch them in viewing order. If you're not used to older TV shows, it could be a little difficult to get through, but I think the payoff's worth it. But yeah, I would just start from The Cage, the very first episode, and work your way through. If you want, you could subscribe to my YouTube, and if you just flip the view order and watch from oldest to newest, like I have all of my reviews of the original series, and that can help kind of guide you through it. I clicked a button. Hey, I didn't even know I could do that. I know he's not been seen yet, but you do know the actor who played Damar was married to... I did not know that, so that's kind of interesting. So, since my phone, because I film all this on my phone, I'm also considering getting an actual camera. So if you guys have any recommendations for like actual cameras, rather than just doing this on my phone, please let me know. You can send me a direct message. So I'm not used to all these little buttons, so that's kind of cool. Okay, where was I? Quark, camera, oh, okay. So Lee Nallis found this Cardassian in his underwear and shot him, and everybody else like got to the scene just then, and he ends up being this big gull, and he's super important. He's one of the butchers, and everybody's like, you killed him, and he's like, no, this was an accident. He was taking a bath and I just shot him. But by that point it's too late, and we see how it kind of spirals and becomes this, like, he's now this big freedom fighter, and it's like, I mean, you shot a dude in his underwear, like, really? And so at the end, this episode, finally we get to the end. I don't even know how long this has been going on. We finally get to the end, and Kira is now being recalled from Deep Space Nine with Lee put into her place because now he's the big hero. And then that's the Minister Jaro is the one that announces that. And then that's it. That's to be continued. Which, to be honest, I had already looked this up to get kind of like familiar with how the next couple of episodes go. And so I'd already read like, oh, this is a 3-part episode. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because it bothers me just a little bit that it's not like part 1, part 2, part 3. Because it's difficult for me to keep track of. And like if you read the description of this video in my little whatever paragraph, like it looks really long because I'm like, this is episode 1, this is episode 2. Whereas like if you look at like The Next Generation or something where it's like best of both worlds, boom, 2 parts put together, you're done. So I don't know. I kind of wish that this had been called all different stuff. So to be continued. Jamie's talking about Shady Pines. I'm a huge Golden Girls fan. I've seen The Golden Palace. I've seen Empty Nest. Go on. I don't know what Shady Pines is for though. Unless it's just me forgetting or going to an old folks home, because I'm probably just about there. Okay. So we go into episode 2, The Circle. So I thought about doing this as 3 separate videos, and I also thought about just pre-recording this and just doing one long video, but I could tell that would have been a massive video, and I think people would have gotten bored. If it's not for you guys jumping in with these comments, I feel like people get bored if it's a long video. It didn't seem right not to have the irritating Kira as first officer of Deep Space Nine. Kira is first officer of Deep Space Nine. Or at least, like, Sisko calls her the number 1. Or the commanding officer? I don't know. Sisko called her something. And it was essentially commanding officer, and stuff like that. Eric says, so far, what do you think overall of Deep Space Nine? I just went through all the episodes last month and following you. So I'm reading now your comments. It was when you set your phone off the rails. Oh, yeah, because I suck at technology. That's true. So Eric says, what do I think so far? So I've told this story a whole bunch of times. And that... So growing up, I was already an adult. I bought the Next Generation DVDs, and then I bought the Voyager DVDs, and then I bought the original series DVDs, and then I'm that guy where I have to have everything. So I bought the Deep Space Nine DVDs, because I hated Deep Space Nine growing up. I thought it was so boring. In fact, I could only remember one scene. Like, I watched a bunch of episodes, but I could only remember one scene, and that's the bird flying into Odo. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch Deep Space Nine just to get rid of it, just to say I watched it. And I started, and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And so I finished it, and I was like, this is great. I love this show. And some episodes have stuck with me, but realistically, I've been married for 8 years. So that was like 10 years ago. So... after 10 years, I don't remember very much. I remember a couple of episodes that I'm super excited for, but for the most part, like, a lot of this I don't remember. So I remember enjoying the series, and I remember really liking it, but I don't remember, like, what episodes are about what. Like Jamie I was talking to yesterday about, his favorite episode is Equilibrium, and I was like, yep, I have zero memory of what that's about. But hopefully when I get to it, and some of these, as soon as I watch them, I'm like, ah, yes, I do remember this. So maybe when I get to some of these episodes, I'll be excited. Zachary says there should be a big group discussion when he finishes. So I tried to do that with the Next Generation. So when I did All Good Things, I tried to have like this big discussion. And I'm always down for group discussions. So when I get to... the very last episode of this, I mean, that will definitely be a live video. Just like the premiere of Voyager will be a live video. I'm always down for group discussions. We could try to plan something, or I don't know. Oh, Eric, don't worry about it. I'm having fun. I like these videos. I'm more worried about my Wi-Fi crapping out, because if you've watched any of my live videos, always right there at the end, it starts to get a little wobbly. But I think I figured out a trick. So, and so far it seems to be working. Okay, so episode 2. So Sisko's pissed because he's taking Kira away, and the Minister Jaro is just like, well, she's getting a promotion, and it's like, is she? I feel like Thor, like, is she? And so they take Kira away. Cisco gets a call from Jake. He goes back to his quarters, and there's now a circle on his quarters. So now we've kind of, like, we saw the hint, we saw the foreshadow, and it's pretty good foreshadow, which can be hard to do. We saw the foreshadow in the first episode, and now we're into the circle, and it's being painted on Cisco's door. There's a great scene, I'm sure it's everybody's favorite scene, where Kira's trying to get ready, and Odo's the first one to walk in, which I think is interesting, because, a little bit of a spoiler, we do know Kira and Odo start to have a relationship later on. So Odo's the first one to start walking in, and he just starts fighting with her. My legs are falling asleep. So he just starts fighting with her, like, you're betraying us, you're running away, you're blah, blah, blah. And then Dax walks in, and then Dr. Bashir walks in, and O'Brien walks in, and Quark walks in with his little liquor, and he's like, it's a party! And then finally, Vatic Buril walks in, who we last saw in the finale of Season 1. He's the one that Wynn was, like, trying to get assassinated. And so it's just like this giant party going on in Kira's quarters. So that was kind of cool. Some weapons are missing. I'm going to try to, like, shorthand a lot of this. Michael is watching. Hi, Michael. So Quark is made a deputy of Odo's, which, again, like, Odo and Quark have the best relationship in this whole series. Like, they just play against each other so well. And, like, Odo just blackmails him into being his deputy. And there's some really, like, weird scenes where, so Kira goes down to the monastery, and we see Vedic Wynn, who's played by Louise Fletcher, who's great, Nurse Ratched. I talked about her in the last episode. And she's like, have we met before? And it's like, okay, bitch, like, you just tried to have him assassinated on my station. You know who I am. And it's just kind of funny scene to me, where she's just like, I think we've met. I don't remember. What time is it? Boop. Okay. So Kira gets kidnapped, and we find out that Minister Jarrow is the Circle. He is actually the one running this. So already, like, it's starting to get super political, and things are not going as they seem. Because Jarrow has been, like, this big force, like, that's trying to get everybody together, and it turns out he's running this secret organization, which, that's a big shock. And so the last part of this episode just goes very, very quickly, where Cisco, Dax, and O'Brien basically go on, like, this rescue mission. And it turns out that Minister Jarrow and Vedic Wynn are working together. So again, not a big surprise, especially if you saw the season finale of Season 1. So already we know that Wynn is, like, an antagonist. And so they rescue Kira, everything's going good. And then we finally get to the end of this episode where Bajoran attack vessels are on their way to Deep Space Nine. Cisco asks for help, but according to, like, the Prime Directive, it is a Bajoran space station, so any non-Bajorans have to leave. So Starfleet has to retreat. And we get to the to be continued. So, which, like I said, this is the first time Star Trek has ever had a 3-part episode. We do see it again. I mean, what is it, like Season 3 of Enterprise is like a 26-part episode. So this does come back later, but I think it's interesting that, and noteworthy once again, that it is a 3-part episode. You guys all stop talking. It's a little sad. And I'm, like, sitting in a weird position so you guys can see this art and see me in widescreen, and it's uncomfortable. Jamie says, Wynn was a pleasure to hate. Louise Fletcher is just a pleasure to hate. Like, she always plays that character. Like, whether it's Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or I don't know if you've seen the American Shameless, but she plays Meg Gallagher, Frank's mom. Even in that, like, she's just such a great actress. And what, like, Flowers Under the Attic or whatever, where she plays the crazy mom, like, she's so great. Like, I wouldn't mind meeting her. I hope she's like that in real life. So finally, the third part, the conclusion, episode 3, The Siege, which this episode seems like the most balanced, because parts of the first episode and parts of the second flowed very weird. Like I said, for episode 2, that ending was very, very quick. I felt like the third episode was the most balanced. Oh, Jamie, if you've never seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie. Actually, I've been to the place where that was filmed, because it's not too far from here. So, the provisional government has invited Starfleet to the Deep Space Nine. So, and I've mentioned in some other videos where it is a Bajoran space station, but Starfleet is invited. So, at any point, Starfleet can leave, but as soon as they leave, so it's a Bajoran space station with Starfleet rules. Because if they don't want Starfleet rules, Starfleet can leave, but as soon as they do, Bajor is just under attack. So it's a give and take. It's a relationship. And so it's kind of interesting to see that. But now this provisional government that has invited Starfleet in, the Circle, this underground camp by Minister Jarrow, has gotten rid of that provisional government. Jamie, if you watch it, let me know what you think of it. It's from the 70s. It's a young Jack Nicholson movie. Kirk says, widescreen looks good though, even if uncomfortable. Well, thank you. That's my goal, is to make it actually look a lot better. Although now you guys can't see my shirt, so I'm a little disappointed. So, all the civilians are dismissed. There's a kind of a touching scene that Nog and Jake are on 2 different runabouts, and they're going to 2 different areas, but they'll still be friends forever. So it's kind of interesting, because from the very first episode, like, Jake and Nog have been just pulled apart, but they keep, like, finding each other. So that's kind of cool. I like that. Quark is selling seats, which is some just basic Ferengi plots going on. And it's kind of funny that Nog makes it out and he sells Quark's seat to a Dabo girl. So finally the Bajorans board the station. And there's a lot of little subplots in this. It was kind of weird for me. Whereas like Kira and Dax go to like the Bajor moon. Boop. Next small purpose is a tripod to raise your phone up and back it up. Also, when you get a camera, you could use it for that too. Yeah, no, I was actually just talking to my husband about that. Like, we're making a trip tomorrow to kind of get that, some sort of tripod as well. Because right now you're like stacked up on books. So, behind the scenes. But so the hard thing is if I go further away, I need like a remote or something to actually activate the record. So, because there's not like a time delay. So, because that's why I keep having to like push the button over here or something. So let's see. So Kira and Dax go to the Bajor moon. Personally, I felt like that was completely unnecessary, but it's kind of cute to watch like the spider dog, the Paluco, where Kira's like, what is that? Is that a spider or is it a dog? And it's just a quick scene because you could tell that like it was just bad suit, but you kind of watch this giant spider thing run away, and she's like, oh, you used to pet them and sing songs about them around the fire, and she's like, no, we used to eat them. You got it popping up again. I like it. So Tanner, do you like just Jadzia Dax, or do you like the season 7 Dax that I just lost her name? So finally, there's some great scenes with just O'Brien and Bashir and Sisko taking back over Deep Space Nine, and they finally get them in, like, they finally basically take over the station, and they point out that Gul Dukat, or not Gul Dukat, the Cardassians were basically funding the Circle, and that this whole thing was kind of a Cardassian subplot. Which, I just ran out of my notes, because evidently I just stopped writing, because I was just so focused in here. Esri, thank you. Which I felt like Esri got a lot of unnecessary hate, but we'll get to that in 6 seasons. So overall, we finally get to the end, and this is it was the Star Trek ending, where it's like, oh, okay, Starfleet's welcome back again, and the Circle's done. So, I think that's all my notes. I hope that's all my notes. I think killing. So overall, was a counselor. That's a good. There are 2 very different characters, which goes with the whole thing. The Trill species. Oh, I'm dying. How much time do I got? Nope. So, for this whole episode, what did you guys think of it? If you guys want to start popping up with the comments for that. Did you like a 3-part episode? Did you think that this was too much? Did you think it should have just been 3 separate episodes? What did you guys think of this overall, like, this season 2 premiere? And what did you guys think about, like, it's not really connected to the season 1 finale. It is its own premiere. Would you have rather it have been split between the two? Like, Homecoming as the last episode of season 1, and then these 2 episodes as the premiere? Ugh. I have a heartburn. I always have a heartburn. And now is when you guys stop with the texting. So overall, I really liked it. Deep Space Nine does best at story arcs. So, like Tanner says, so for me to do reviews of Deep Space Nine, it is a little bit difficult because this was the first of like story arcs for Deep Space, for storytelling for Star Trek. And it's not just episodic. Like The Next Generation's super easy because each episode is kind of its own thing. There might be references to past episodes, but overall, like, it's not a big story arc. Whereas Deep Space Nine is, like, beginning to end. Like, we have this whole war. We have this whole character thing. And it is interesting to watch these story arcs. So it's a little bit difficult to do a review for this one episode, because I might do a review for an episode and be like, oh, this whole episode was just dumb. Like, I don't get it. 5 episodes later, it pays off in a sense because we get to the end of that story arc and I'm like, oh, now I kind of want to go back and redo that first episode, which is just kind of how we've updated in storytelling in general, because even Deep Space Nine is very episodic. And then, like, whenever I get to Discovery, I don't even know if I could do reviews of Discovery until the season's over. I feel like I have to wait for a season to be done because that whole season is one story arc. So, and that's just kind of how we as a society have updated our television and our storytelling. Yeah, you guys are still talking about Dax. But overall, I thought it was really good. Like I said, I feel like some parts were a little rushed and some parts were a little spread out. So I feel like it could have used a little bit more polishing, but it was a brave thing to do what hadn't been done, this whole 3-part episode. So I do congratulate them for trying it and to seeing where it can go. Because if nothing else, Deep Space Nine tries to go where no one's gone before, at least for Star Trek. So it's super interesting to watch them try this out. I'm almost out of juice. Is there anything you guys are looking forward to into season 2? Any episodes that you guys are super excited for and that you really want me to watch? Tanner says Way of the Warrior. I love when Worf joins, so that's a good one. Season 2 for me, like I said, I can only remember a handful of episodes. Blood Oath is one of my favorite episodes. I love that episode so much. So I'm super excited to get to that one. Like, I might do that episode live just because that's one of my favorites. Otherwise, I don't remember any other episodes of season 2. Like, none of them jump out at me, at least. I think the Maquis introduction's in season 2. I know that, but I don't remember any of it. So we'll see if it's any good or not. Cliffhangers are well and good, but I definitely prefer a whole constant arc rather than having it broke up. So, for Tanner, like, I hate cliffhangers when they come out. Like, when it starts in the summer and I finally get the end of it in the fall, like, that annoys me. Like, I hate that. But in hindsight, when I watch it, like, on DVD or stuff like that, like, I love cliffhangers. I think they're great. So that one's a little tricky. And that's just because I have zero patience. Alright, so if that's it, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off because I still have to get ready for work. And like I said, this sitting here is a little bit uncomfortable. I could do this for like short videos, but these long videos, I want to try to find something new. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for participating. Doing these videos earlier in the day is a lot more fun. I will totally admit that, because you guys are so much more active. Thank you guys for watching my first 3-part episode, and I will see you guys for the rest of season 2, and then I got like 4 more days until the documentary, so I'm definitely going to be doing the documentary live, my like reaction. Popping up, let me know what you guys think. As you guys keep popping up comments, I'll keep responding to them throughout the day, and then I will see you guys next time for a fantastic episode. I already watched it. To be honest with you, like, I'm doing this video live. I've already done like the next 5 videos. So I will see you guys next time for the fantastic video, Invasive Procedures. Thank you guys, and I will see you later.